Hi all, this is Once a Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time I had probably the hardest one so far as I took on the challenge of beating Pokemon Emerald with my rival's Trico team and moves. That was a brutal slog that took way too long. So let's go with a single Pokemon one this time as we set out to see if we can beat Pokemon Silver with a single Larvitar. First form pseudo-legendaries aren't anything special. Our stats are okay with attack being the best at 64, speed being the worst at 41. Our defences and HP stand at 50, so I'd be worried about taking hits. 6 weaknesses including 2 4-times, one's to grass and water, but 5 resistances and an immunity isn't too bad. We get some decent moves via level up, including Earthquake, Crunch, Rock Slide and Hyper Beam, but the TM list isn't particularly special. We might struggle with coverage against stronger grass and water types. Just the rules then. In combat I can only use Larvitar, other Pokemon will be needed for HMs but they're not allowed to throw a punch. The only items I'll be allowed to use in battle will be Pokeballs and held items, and no glitches or exploits. Comment below and if you think I can do this or not. I reckon I'll beat Lance, I think I'll get past Blue, I think Red's Venusaur and Blastoise will probably be a bridge too far for me, but we'll see. If you do like what you see here, then like, comment and subscribe, I'll get a kick out of it and it helps me when I'm starting my journey. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with Larvitar, so my rival will have Meganium, which I reckon will be the hardest for us to fight. A Meganium with a grass move is more threatening than a Feraligatr with a water one. There's probably not much in it, but well. We get our Larvitar and nickname him Stocky because he's equal parts stone and also a little bit rocky. Yeah, I suck at nicknames. You should have guessed that about the time my Sphere run. Once I have Stocky, I set about doing a bit of grinding to get him up and running. First half of the Johto gyms shouldn't be too bad. Second half might be rough with fighting, steel and ice to deal with, as well as a powerful water type in Claire's Kingdra. I'm going to need every level I can get. At least I start with an attacking move in Bite, unlike the previous Silver run with Togepi. As I leave Cherry Grove City after picking up an egg and a Pokedex, I'm attacked by a suspicious Ginger who unleashes a Chikorita on me. I immediately throw up Sandstorm for some chip damage as Chikorita uses Growl, which, given Bite is special in this gen, is not going to have any effect. I accidentally click on Leer as Chikorita tackles, but it goes down very quickly to a few bites and the Sandstorm damage. I even flinch it for good effect before the stranger runs off. Later, I tell the cops that his name was Rod and they actually believe me. In Violet City I face off against Falconer to challenge for the Zephyr badge and he starts with Pidgey. As a rock type I should have an advantage, or I would at least if I knew rock moves. As it is, it doesn't matter. Pidgey is one hit with Bite, Pidgeotto gets hit with Bite but survives with a sliver of health left and uses Mud Slap before going down to a second Bite. Right, on we go, one down. I teach Stocky Mud Slap to give him a stab move. In Azalea Town, I do some grinding before Bugsy. Stocky gets Rock Slide at level 22, and there's no point in making this harder than it needs to be. I know the move feels like it's more inaccurate than it actually is, but it'll probably be something we keep long term. With Rock Slide in tow, Bugsy goes down very, very quickly. Metapod and Kakuna are crushed to death under a huge flurry of rocks, while Cypher does outspeed Stocky to land a Fury Cutter, but it does very little damage, and Rock Slide crushes it like, well, like a bug I guess. I encounter that Reddit again and it turns out he's adopted the name Rod as an alias. Well, how about that? Ghastly goes down to a single Mud Slap before he brings out Bayleaf. I hit it with Rock Slide and get a lucky flinch before a second Rock Slide takes it out. Another part of the reason I wanted the move because it could probably one-shot us otherwise. Zubat also goes down to Rock Slide. Before I go after Whitney, I get the TM for Dig and replace Mud Slap. It's pretty much better in every single way. It'll be useful until I get Earthquake though. I go into the fight at level 29, having just learned Thrash. Clefairy goes down to a single Dig attack before the dreaded Harbinger of the End Times comes out in the form of Whitney's Miltank. She goes to roll out, it lands for 2 HP, and I dig. I crit it to take out 3/4 of its health. She lands another Flaccid rollout before I dig again and take it out. That might have been the single easiest Whitney fight in the history of Pokemon. I heard that those existed somewhere, but I did have my doubts. In Ecruteak, I'm feeling pretty confident at level 31, so I go up Morty. I don't see Rick anywhere though, thankfully. Ghastly goes down to Bite before he sends his Gengar out, and I get a huge stroke of luck as it misses Hypnosis. I knock it out with Dig. That was fortunate. His stronger Haunter comes out and lands Nightshade, which does fixed damage, but it is better than the alternatives before it does go down to Dig. His lower level Haunter goes down to Dig as well, despite landing another Nightshade. That could easily have gone very differently. I tackle the rival in Burn Tower, I hit Haunter with Bite, it narrowly survives and lands a pair of Lick attacks. Thankfully, I don't get paralysed, I finish it off with Bite. Next is Bayleaf, and once again I get Flinch Luck with Rock Slide, finishing it off with the same move again. Zubat also goes down to Rock Slide, while Magnemite goes down to Dig. In Siamwood City, I go make a try at Chuck, but part of me figures there's no way I can do this at this level. I have a strange feeling his Poliwrath might mess me up. And I'm right. Primeape is 2-hit with Dig, though it lands a pretty effective Karate Chop in exchange. I managed to land Dig on Poliwrath, but it does nowhere near enough damage before it one-hits me from just below 2/3 health with Surf. That was my concern. We'll come back here later when we can hit harder. Having healed Amphi, I make a crack at Jasmine's gym, and this could go either way. I knock out the first Magnemite with ease, but inflicting damage on Steelix is harder. It shrugs off Dig attacks with ease. Worse, a single Iron Tail from it nearly one-hits me from full health. When she heals her giant Iron Serpent, the writing's on the wall and Stocky goes down. Well, I did say the second half of the region would be harder than the first. I go do the Lake of Rage and Rocket Hideout stuff instead to get levels. I then figure I might as well go after Price while I'm here. The old man brags about how he doesn't lose easily and then loses easily as Seal goes down to Rock Slide, Piloswine goes down to a crit Rock Slide, which fair dues I doubt would have knocked it out without the crit, before Dugong also goes down to Rock Slide. Now I need to work out how to solve the Chuck or Jasmine problem. I try Jasmine again, maybe I hit a little harder, maybe I take hits better now that I'm 6 levels higher than before. Worst case scenario, I grind up to level 50 and wreck her with Earthquake, but that's very much a plan B. I do deal more damage and take less from Iron Tail, but I still can't 2-hit Steelix, and that'll be the turning point. I'm unlucky enough that for the first time in the known history of the move, Iron Tail lands twice in a row without missing and takes Stocky out. I try again at a level higher at level 47. Part of me is hopeful that this is a tipping point. Magnemite goes down to Dig. Steelix comes out and I keep on digging at it even as she heals it. It does land an Iron Tail that lowers Stocky's defense, but no other ones land, and I'm fortunate enough to knock it out. And with Steelix down, Jasmine's last line of defense is another Magnemite, and it goes down to Dig very, very quickly. I wonder how I match up against Chuck now. Primeape is a single hit takedown with Dig when we do face him before the dreaded Poliwrath comes out. I go for Dig and it does way more damage this time, 2/3 of its health roughly. And then it lands a 4-time super effective Surf on me. I do survive though on low yellow health and finish it with another Dig. Now we've got Team Rocket stuff, including of which there's another rival fight. Rod showing up in the Golden Rod underground. His Golbat gets taken out by Rock Slide. Next is Meganium and Rock Slide misses. Thankfully, he goes to Poison Powder and it misses. A second Rock Slide does decent damage. We don't get the flinch, but he does go for Poison Powder, which lands at the second attempt, and a third Rock Slide takes it out. Whew. Sneasel goes down to Rock Slide. We learned Earthquake when taking out Meganium, and that move knocks Magnemite out before Haunter comes out and is wrecked in the same fashion. On to Blackthorn City then and the final gym. I actually got here and couldn't access the gym, and I was wondering why for ages until I realised I'd only rescued the chairman of the radio tower rather than actually finishing Team Rocket off. With this amended, I didn't think it was possible to get here until you'd beaten Team Rocket, but I guess I was wrong. Oh well, it's Claire time. Stocky is level 55, but I suppose Pokemon Silver with a single Tyranitar probably doesn't have the same level of challenge to it. I think this fight will depend on how well we handle Kingdra. The first Dragonair goes down to Earthquake. The second Dragonair gets floored by Earthquake. Kingdra comes out and Earthquake does 3/4 of its health in damage. The bad news is that it one-hits us from full health with Surf. With that in mind, I go grinding Icy Path. I'd love to know why when I'm exploring to get through here I can't move for being attacked, but when I'm actually seeking out fights it can take ages for something to appear and face me. Irony, I guess. I make another try on Claire at the next level to see if that makes a difference. Beats me trying to make Golbat extinct in the Icy Path anyway by knocking them out over and over. I hit Kingdra harder, but it still survives, or rather Surf vibes, and hits me even harder with a Tidal Wave. Wonder what level I'd have to be to survive a Surf from a Kingdra. I think it's probably going to be easier just to get to the point where I can one-hit it. Or I could try and flinch it with Rock Slide. A dangerous strategy, to be sure. It's a potent strategy though. Earthquake takes out the first two Dragonairs. I go for Rock Slide on Kingdra. It does decent damage and flinches it before I finally take it out with Earthquake. Then I use the same move on the final Dragonair for the victory and the final badge. Or at least it would be the final badge if Claire wasn't being exceptionally high maintenance. What is it about female gym leaders refusing to give you badges in this game? Anyway, we resolve it peacefully after all sorts of nonsense. In Victory Road, we have the final mandatory rival fight. Rod starts with Sneasel and it gets crushed with Rock Slide. Next is Meganium and Rock Slide misses. It goes to Razor Leaf and my heart is in my mouth, at least until said move misses and I get a flinch off the next Rock Slide. The second successful Rock Slide takes it out. Very fortunate indeed. Next is Kadabra, who goes down to Crunch. Golbat goes down to Rock Slide, Magneton goes down to Earthquake, and Haunter goes the same way, meaning that he's failed utterly in every single attempt to beat me. These are my stats going into the Elite Four at level 60, and I'm feeling reasonably confident. Bruno might be tricky, that's something I bet you never thought you'd hear anyone say. Karen's Umbreon and Vileplume will probably be annoying, but if I can get through them without being sand attacked repeatedly and paralysed, I reckon I'll have little trouble with the rest of the team. Koga will probably be his usual obnoxious self, no doubt. First is Psychic Trainer Will. This actually does turn out closer than expected due to my error of judgment with Jinx. Xatu goes down to Crunch and so does Exeggutor. With Jinx, I should have used Rock Slide, but instead I go for Crunch and it survives to land Ice Punch. I should have doubled down on Crunch, but instead went for Thrash, which does knock it out, but doesn't do much to Slowbro. 2 turns of Thrash, and Slowbro uses Curse twice, landing Psychic, and Stocky hits himself in confusion, before finally taking Slowbro out with Crunch. And the last Xatu goes down to the same move too. Well, that was nearly bad. Next is Poison Trainer Koga. Ariados goes down to Rock Slide, and next is Forretress. I land Earthquake and he calls for Spikes. Interesting choice of move, before I finish it with Rock Slide. Next is Crobat and it goes down to Rock Slide. Muck goes down to a crit Earthquake, and finally is Venomoth, who goes down to Rock Slide. Interesting, that was smoother than I thought it would be. Fighting Trainer Bruno is the upcoming opponent. I don't really have too much in the way of strategy here, just try and brute force him I guess, while not getting hit by his attacks. I'll see how that one works out for me I suppose. Hitmontop goes down to a single Earthquake, Hitmonlee goes down to Earthquake, Hitmonchan does land Mach Punch but goes down to a single Earthquake, Machamp survives Earthquake and then breaks Stocky in two with Cross Chop. Eep. That wasn't in the script. I make a second attempt a few levels higher. I'll go back to my prior strategy versus stuff that can potentially one-hit us. Rely on Flinch Look. How did that go? Well, Hitmontop and Hitmonlee both go down to Earthquake just as they did before. Hitmonchan lands Mach Punch just as it did before getting taken out by Earthquake. I go for Rock Slide on Machamp to hope for the flinch, but I don't get it. Mind you, this time I survive Cross Chop with 18 HP and finish it off with Earthquake before I take Onix down with Crunch. 3 down. Now then, how much of a pain is Karen going to be? I think that's a very valid question. Umbreon goes about as well as can be. Rock Slide flinches it before I finish it with Earthquake. I want to try the same strategy versus Vileplume, but it doesn't flinch and lands Stun Spore before I then take it out with Earthquake. Next is Houndoom. I land Earthquake to feint it before it can do anything. If you're wondering how a paralysed Larvitar can outspeed a Houndoom, I guess the answer is the Quick Claw I've been holding since before the Goldenrod Gym. Gengar is next, and this is where things get hairy, as Stocky ends up fully paralysed twice, and Gengar uses Curse and a pair of Lick Attacks. I managed to take it out with Crunch before flooring Murkrow with Rock Slide. Champion Lance next, and I reckon if I can get past Gyarados relatively unscathed and my Rock Slides don't miss, I'll be home free here. Anyway, we start and Gyarados goes down to Rock Slide. Dragonite number 1 comes out. Rock Slide. Dragonite number 2 comes out. Bang! Rock Slide. Charizard comes out. Bang! Rock Slide. Dragonite number 3 comes out. Bang! Rock Slide. Aerodactyl comes out and actually manages to land a wing attack for pretty minimal damage before being put down by Rock Slide. If you're Lance, that was actually embarrassing. After entering the Hall of Fame, I travelled to Kanto, but there's only really 2 battles worthy of note here. The Kanto gym leaders aren't really a challenge, not until I get to the final one, and face off against the OG rival, Blue himself. Mind you though, when I do say it's a challenge, Pidgeot goes down to Rock Slide. Exeggutor goes down to a pair of Crunch attacks, only starting to charge up Solar Beam in exchange. Alakazam goes down to Earthquake, Rhydon goes down to Earthquake, Gyarados goes down to Rock Slide, and last is Arcanine. It goes down to Earthquake. Stocky just wrecked Blue without getting hit. I doubt that Red will be that easy though. I do a bit of grinding. I want to be at least level 80 before I can take him on, though I bet I'll need to be higher. At level 83, I make a try. It starts off well, as I can only assume the Quick Claw has something to do with us outspeeding Pikachu and one hitting it with Earthquake. Espeon outspeeds and puts up Reflect, letting it survive Earthquake before it fires a Psychic at Stocky. Crunch finishes it off. Venusaur outspeeds and charges up Solar Beam with no speed advantage. Rock Slide can't flinch it, and as a result, Stocky gets blasted with the powerful move and goes down. Only thing I can do is pack on the levels, get stocky, stronger and stronger. At level 91 I make another attempt, it goes about as badly as can be, starting awfully as Pikachu lands Charm. I one hit it with Earthquake, Espeon throws up Reflect and lands Psychic for big damage, I two hit it with Crunch. I do manage to land Rock Slide on Venusaur for the flinch, but between Charm and Reflect is the equivalent of hitting it with a wet paper towel, and as a second Rock Slide misses, it wipes Stocky out with Giga Drain. I need to be able to outspeed Pikachu, Reflect can be managed, it will fade over time, Charm however will not. I doubt I'll be able to outspeed Espeon even at level 100, I make another attempt at level 94, Pikachu doesn't land Charm, going for quick attack instead, but Espeon still throws up Reflect, I knock it out with Earthquake and Crunch. I land 2 Rock Slides on Venusaur but can't get the flinch as it one hits me from virtually full health with Solar Beam. I get stocky to level 100 and our best stat is still our attack at 218, our speed is our worst at 152. We're going to struggle to outspeed, defence is 188 and special defence 198, but it's still probably not going to be enough to survive Venusaur or Blastoise landing potent attacks. I'll make a few tries and see how it goes. The very next attempt goes great as I one hit both Pikachu and Espeon with Earthquake, outspeeding them both. That was great as I say. Venusaur takes big damage from Rock Slide and charges up Solar Beam before I finish it with Earthquake. Next is Blastoise and I land Rock Slide but don't get the flinch and it hits me for 260 HP with Surf. I finish it with Earthquake but the damage is done as Snorlax comes out. I deal massive damage to it with Earthquake but it survives and takes Stocky out with Body Slam. Drat. It becomes apparent what needs to happen. Pikachu needs to not use Charm, Espeon needs to not use Reflect, Venusaur needs to use Solar Beam so I can 2-hit it. I need to flinch Blastoise to stop the Surf attack and have enough left over to murder his final 2 Pokemon. I reach this hypothesis after a dozen attempts, but Blastoise never flinches, not one, just outright beats me with Surf on several of these attempts. I have like 10 minutes of footage of this happening. Eventually, this run happens, Pikachu goes down to Earthquake, Espeon puts up Reflect, and Earthquake deals massive damage, but not a knockout. I have to finish it with Crunch. Versus Venusaur, I get 2 flinches with Rock Slide and finish it with Earthquake. Against Blastoise, I don't get a flinch with Rock Slide, I actually get a crit and one hit it! Snorlax goes down to 2 Earthquake attacks using only Amnesia, and last, Charizard lands Flamethrower, but Stocky shrugs it off and knocks it out with Rock Slide. So yeah, you can beat Pokemon Silver with a single Larvitar. It takes a boatload of luck, but it can be done. That wasn't too bad. Fun too. The red fight was annoying, but that aside, next week there could be another interesting one. Set out to see if I can beat Pokemon Red with Agatha's team and moves. Make sure you tune into that one. If you have enjoyed what you've seen here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. If you have any ideas or suggestions for challenges, then drop them in the comments section or on my Twitter page. We're almost out of time now, so this has been Once and Future Gamer. Thank you so very much for watching me to complete this challenge. Silver with a single Larvitar. Have a great day now. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.